Well, guys, it's alive. Sort of. Basically, I've got all gauges running, fuel pump kicks on, everything's there. It's just a matter of starting. So, basically, I went through a couple of things. I tried to solder my own battery terminals. Didn't work the first time, but I think it's because I had too big of a wire and not big enough of a connector, brass connector. So the second time worked cool, so I put that in there just to kind of show you how it goes. It's my first time, so I really didn't know what I was doing, but it worked. The second time it worked really cool. So for the wire from the battery to the fuse box. So you'll see that. Also showed you how to test a relay, and because I figured that out on YouTube. So basically, guys, I either have a bad starter or I have a bad connection to that cold wire, the skinny wire going to the starter. That's the wire I soldered in that soldering video. So either that is a bad connection or it is a bad starter. So I'm going to test the connection first, probably tomorrow morning, and then I'll if that fails, then we're gonna go ahead and get a we're gonna go ahead and return that starter. All right, guys. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of this. I'm gonna take my time and kind of try to figure this one out with the starter. And the next video you'll see will be it either cranking or running, one of the two. So that's the goal as of now. So thanks a bunch, guys. We did it, sort of. Guys, just to give you a little preview on what I'm going to work on this morning. First off is I think I want to go ahead and get my clutch put on real quick, and the shifter. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to make sure that it first of all is in neutral before I try and start it, and second of all, to just kind of see how that clutch feels on that pressure plate, if it seems like it's going to work or not. So that's what I'm going to get to work to right now. Well, guys, yeah, we're getting really close to turning the key. I'm going to go find a spot to put this. I think for now it's just going to sit in the air cleaner box, and we'll figure something out. Let me think here. I got a lot to do as far as the wiring, and I really want to make sure I don't fuck anything up. This is about the time I start getting anxious and rushing. And when you rush and you're anxious, that's when bad things happen. So I'm going to take a step back and try and make sure I get this right. I think what my approach is going to be is I'm going to start over here. And probably get all the tranny lines and transmission stuff hooked up all the way to the back, and then I'm gonna start on this side, and just because there's a little bit less over here, get that plugged in, get it wrapped around the back really nice. I'm gonna get these hoses out of the way because I don't need them right now, and they're all cattywampo. So then we'll come over here and I'll get that all in line. Now, I've got a couple of grounds. There's a ground here to the frame. It's not tight yet. I thought my dad tightened that. Sorry, did I show you that? So there you go. There's a ground to the frame, and I have that to right here where the coil is, and on the bracket for your idler arm, or your tensioner pulley, sorry. And then I have the battery negative underneath, same spot. So there's two. And then you remember I had that ground strap in the back there. Well, on the TJ, it's hanging. You can see it right here. So there's two back there. You have the body strap back there that straps to the hood, and then there's the strap from the harness, the wiring harness that'll strap to the valve cover. Don't forget that one. I did. To get that set up and put on, and I'm going to put that on a valve cover. You want something that's going to be connected directly to the block. I'm taking my time, so I'm noticing things. First thing is that this is the fuel or line, and it's really awfully ugly. But whatever. I mean, I guess I can kind of mess that around. Then I got this throttle cable that's not going to work. I need to get it out of there. This is a vacuum line, and half of it's from the Dodge and the other half's from the TJ. So probably just going to get some tubing and run a tube from here into there and call that a day instead of all that crap. Then you got the rear brake booster one coming to the bottom nipple on the intake. The top nipple goes to the valve cover. Over here, there's one that comes out of the firewall, and it goes into the nipple on this side. So there's your vacuum lines. You've got one over here, and that is your firewall connection, or if your firewall vacuum. The pump is right there under the fender, or behind the fender, right? So you run that into that nipple on this side. On this side, you have two nipples. The top one goes to the brake booster, the bottom one goes to the valve cover. And then you have one vacuum line here. That's on the throttle body, and that comes right out of here. This little valve that you've got sitting over here behind your coolant tank, or your burp tank, excuse me. Okay, so looks like I got plenty of room here. I read online that there's some issues with the steering column. I see none. Shoot, man, this thing is really looking sweet. Really worried about this wiring harness though, so let me go ahead and keep working, and we will get to a point where it's either do or die. Okay guys, let's start here in the back. So here's the connection. This is your longest one, and it goes right here to the fuel tank. Sorry. Boop, right there. And there it is in. And then it's got a little lock on it, which I'll get figured out. Make sure I want to put it back. There's some clips here. Speed sensor is connected. Alright, and there's this bad boy. That one probably goes over here. Okay guys, so that connector you see dead ahead, that's your 4x4 switch. Okay, over here, you see a wire coming out of that side of the transmission there. I don't know what it is, but there's a connection there. We go to the back here, there's one there. And that's your speed sensor right there. That white coming out of that tail piece. Okay, and then you have a breather hose here, right here, and I don't believe you can see where that goes from right here, but it's just up and over. Oh well, I tried. All right, and then this rear one is for the fuel. So I'm gonna finish up here, and then we'll go back to the top. Okay, guys, everything's hooked up except the battery. All of my grounds are hooked up. Got this. No, they're not. You're forgetting one. You're forgetting your wiring harness ground, but you'll find that out. This one that goes to the frame. Bottom one goes to the negative cable. The one in the back I attached to the back of the head. Oh, I've got a ground here. Okay, so I need to get my coil or my alternator on. I need to put oil in it still, so let me go ahead and do that now, and I'll change the oil filter, and then we will consider just trying to turn the key first. We'll turn the key first and see how that goes. We won't crank it. Okay. Guys, my heart's pounding. So here's what, let me just say what I think might happen here, because I got a couple of things I'm concerned about. When I went to the Bighorn Mountains, and we were trying to fix the catalytic converter that got plugged up, I bought a coil, because the guy was like, yeah, buy a coil, maybe it's the coil. And then I called him one day and asked, hey, will a Jeep coil work on a Dodge coil, or same truck? And they said yes. However, the connections are different. So I left the Jeep connection on there. So there may be an issue there that may end up having to change. I don't know. What else? I don't like all the connections for the ASD for the injectors. They were kind of shitty. So I'm worried about those. Bad connection can just be bad. I double checked my wiring, so I feel confident about it, but I'm still nervous about it. Well, screw it. Let's do this. Dun, 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 dun. Wrong song. Whew, power. All right. Oh shit. No gauges. Nothing. Nothing at all. This is the part where I figured out that I had loose ground. Well, there's like a day in between here. But I figured out it was loose ground. So, here's a shot of the gauges working. Okay. Check me out, guys. So, got the gauges going. But when you push the clutch in and go to start it, battery just does that. So basically, in the past 2 days, I'm sorry if this video seems a bit jumbled. I was kind of in a panic all day yesterday because I had gauges or the first time I tried I had no gauges, and then I fiddled with some stuff and I had gauges, and then I fiddled some more and lost the gauges again, and it was all because of that ground back there for the harness. So once I got that all situated, my gauges they're all there. So my starter's just clicking, and it's only clicking once. I thought it was the battery cables, so I soldered in some new stuff. You'll see the videos of that, and nothing worked. So I either have a bad starter or I have a bad connection with my ignition. So got to get that figured out, and I will figure that out. But obviously all the components are there. It will start. It will. It just needs a starter that will start. Alright guys, thanks a bunch. Okay, I probably should have read up on the video, but I watched a video on how to do this. Let me make sure, double check I have the right ones here. Yes. Okay, so on your relay, there's little numbers in here, and they're all pretty much the same. Usually they have a diagram. This one doesn't, because you can kind of see it on the bottom here. Okay, so usually these things have a diagram of some sort. You can see I've got the power over here and the ground right here. And when I touch 85 to 86 across here, so my starter is working. Now the other way to test it, because you're not done there. Okay, so now we have the circuit open, so the starter should start. But we want to make sure that there's no resistance, like say that flapper is broke. So you take your multimeter, put it on ohms. It should read almost nothing. So, there you go, guys. That relay is good, I think. So yeah, so I learned really quick, fast, and in a hurry how to how to test electrical systems because that ground wasn't connected, and I was freaking out because I had gauges, and then I moved some crap, and I lost my gauges. And yeah, so that was really, 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 really scary, I guess. And yeah, so now today my goal is to figure out why my starter is only clicking once. I'm assuming it's an ignition issue. Really shouldn't do shit like this on camera because I really don't know what I'm doing. But I'm gonna attempt to do this. What the frick? There you go. Okay, boys, she's full. She got... I think maybe I put too much in there. I'm not sure. But I didn't get it in there far enough. My first time, alright guys? Jesus Christ. See if that is gonna hold it all. Let it cool down for a while. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I can... Shit, I don't know. Otherwise I have two more. Alright, I did it much better that time. Perfect. So, yeah, I'll have to go back and try that again. I got this cool little quick disconnect. But, definitely gonna get different ones. Those are, I'm not gonna leave that like that. No how, no way. But I suspect that my starting problem has to do with a bad connection to the battery terminal. So, I'm gonna connect these up and get them on there nice and tight and see if she turns. Okay guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Tried that. That just didn't do it. So I got good connections. I mean, they're good. And it's just not making it crank over. So probably gonna have to pull that starter and take it back to the junkyard and possibly just go buy a damn good starter. Which with my luck will probably end up having the other kind of terminals for the cold wire. So I'll have to solder on another different kind of connection to it, and but that's where I'm gonna stop. So I got gauges, everything's good. Yeah, ripped my dash apart thinking God I had an ignition problem, but yeah, basically guys, it's very important that you remember your grounds. So I was missing a ground back there. Um, uh, it happened to be touching metal the first time I gave it a try, then came out and messed with the battery cables and it pulled it away. And then, yeah, so that's kind of what happened there, but shit. Pretty cool. I'm very, very happy. I don't sound like it, but I'm tired, and this has been a long, long process. I haven't been to the gym not one time in 2 weeks, so I think it better take just a little bit more time to do this, and